once again, we are back. Now, you will notice that Mitch and Ricardo are missing. We'll get to that in just a minute because we, as far as next week goes, obviously there's Thanksgiving and stuff, so we're actually recording 2 episodes back to back for you guys, and that's why the setup's kind of going to be the same and the same people here. But we are also going to offer members topics. We're going to talk a little bit about Lady Gaga possibly joining the MCU, the future of KANG, Marvel Rivals, and the Venom game status, which Tristan and I already did as part of the gaming podcast, which you guys can also check out. It'll pop up right up there where the recommendeds are, so you guys can catch up on our gaming discussions. Now, before we get there, as always, I am Armin. You guys can find me here at the Linktree, and I am, as always, of course, joined by Tristan.
Yep, Linktree too. Haven't really made anything to promote yet because if you guys watched the Control Breakers video before this, then I sound really bad, but now I sound a lot better. So probably gonna get back into the swing of things pretty soon, before all the holiday hoopla comes in. But yeah, you can catch me on Blue Sky. It's in my Linktree. You have everything there that you'd probably want to go look at if you are interested. So.
Now, in regards to the other two, where is Ricardo? Ricardo was last seen trying to storm the set of Moana live action to try to get an autograph from The Rock, so he might be detained.
Yeah, that's I saw though. It's all right. Don't really doesn't need a live action thing, even though it's weird because even though it's basically The Rock just playing himself again.
Yep.
You don't really need it in live action.
Right. To me, I think I've said this before. Moana is my favorite Disney animated film of all time. I love that film. I watched it so many times. If there is one thing that doesn't need a live action remake this soon, it's Moana. It's like what? Before Moana 3, we're gonna get Moana 2 live action now? Is that the pattern?
If people go watch it, probably.
Sadly, and we'll see. But people are also wondering, where is also Mitch? He's been here just about every podcast for as long as I can remember at this point. That's the thing. The Queen called him into service. They are testing a new combo for breakfast, new beans and bread. So, I thought
it was just because this for I guess once in a great while it coincided with some F1 racing, and those last for couple hours, and he probably stayed up most of the night watching cars. So
sure, he calls it F1 racing, but we know what he's actually doing, advising the Queen, probably about some sort of treason as well.
I guess because I know there's some evil going on when you're eating beans for breakfast.
It's true. That's like a crime. That's an actual crime, I'm pretty sure. Although, as a Bosnian, beans are eaten all the time, so I don't know. That might say a lot more about me than him as well.
It depends. It depends. It really depends on the beans. But if they're the type of beans that Mitch eats, I can't co-sign on that.
That's why he can't be here. It's a disaster where he's at in multiple ways. So without further ado, we do have some topics here. At some point, Ricardo might join us. He'll just join in on the topic, and we'll be obviously off to the races with whatever we're talking about. So let's just get into our first topic here, which is the Fantastic Four and Avengers Doomsday. So this is weird because it was just confirmed by Kevin Feige that the Fantastic Four leads right into Avengers Doomsday, and that the Fantastic Four cast is joining Avengers Doomsday. Now, what's weird here is that if you just go back and watch the actual footage on Marvel Studios' channel from San Diego Comic-Con, when they announced the Russo brothers, they confirm right then and there that the Fantastic Four are part of the cast. But I went and looked at a bunch of transcripts from Deadline and websites. They all just glazed over that like it was never confirmed. It was almost like there was too much happening and everybody was focused on Robert Downey Jr.
It's either I guess the big eye catch is either Robert Downey Jr. is back. That's probably primarily one. And another one would be, trying to figure out the Fantastic Four and the cast, and you're just seeing seeing them for like the first time during, especially stuff
Right.
like D23, and like when we go back even like with the last cast where I talked about it where they especially at D23 Brazil, where not a lot of people talked about that, where it was just really weird where they're
Yeah.
talking about there was one other thing, and then they actually did have some people did record, and they showed I guess a better spruced up sizzle reel
Hmm.
for a Fantastic Four, and showed I guess a better look, technically a better look for the actual movie. And then we had the extra thing where they did show or did have that full synopsis of the Fantastic Four, where it said it was going to be personal for Reed, which
Hmm.
could have been a little hint to them saying, trying to plus two together with which is Reed and
Yeah.
Doomsday
Yeah.
to get to Doomsday, and that trying to
Which
tie them together. So
exactly. So it's like, are they going to reveal that Doctor Doom is
mhm.
from that universe? He survives it, and then his solution is conquer everything and stop Galactus, kind of making almost Doom a not a good guy, but a guy that you could be like, well, he's trying to prevent the death of everything, but he also wants to be a ruler. And the personal stories, the history with him and Reed
Oh,
Richards, which is obviously in the comics one of the big
yeah,
thrusts of both of their
yeah,
stories.
it can be that because it's like um I guess it's because like Doom is really very, very complicated and not very complicated at the same
Yeah.
time, to where like he wants to be, I guess he wants to be praised and viewed as, that he's unique and unequal, but he also wants to help his people.
Yeah.
So so it's this weird thing to where, you think that he's has some inkling of goodness in him, but
Yeah.
he's more along the lines of I guess you could say like a warped goodness to where
It's like,
he
yeah, it's like what you're saying. I think warped goodness is a good way to
yeah,
explain it.
because
Yeah.
it's his own warped
Yeah.
perception of what he perceives that he should be good when
Hmm.
he's doing all these horrible things to get to that,
Right.
which is yeah.
It's
It's like
the
yeah, it's like on one end where it's Doom has this really delicious what was that one thing they always put in the comics is where like he has like the most delicious ice cream
right,
or a
right,
cookie
yeah.
recipe in a Latveria, and then on the opposite end he's stealing stuff from another nation because
Yeah.
his people need it.
I mean, it's like it's a three-pronged solution, when it comes to like Marvel, and I am going to include Marvel here because they
Mhm,
named the character and defined him, but you got Doctor Doom,
mhm,
Magneto, and Marvel Comics did all the legwork and entire history
mhm,
before the cartoon for Megatron and Transformers. They
yeah,
all three of those fall into the same. It's like they're righteous and they're trying to do good in their own view, and that pits them against their brother. And we know
yeah,
from the comics that Reed Richards and
mhm,
Victor see each other as brothers up until Doom is consumed by,
yeah,
you know, uh, him wanting to save his mom
yeah,
and become who he thinks he could be, and Reed
yeah.
ascends on another
Yeah.
level.
Yeah, yeah, it's like that one where that example where you said where all those characters, had good intentions, but they saw that the good and the quote unquote correct way to go about things is not working.
Yeah.
So then they go to very, very drastic measures to get to what they perceived as the right thing to do. And that's where they come to clash. And having Fantastic Four in Doomsday is for me is I guess just an evolution of going from I wonder if is it like will it be like a straight continuation from like Fantastic Four to Doomsday?
That's what they're making it sound like, because he said they're connected as
Okay.
well. And like, remember when they announced
Mhm.
Kang Dynasty?
Yeah.
Fantastic Four was only 4 months before it, and they said the same thing. This film connects directly to it. So I
Okay.
think you're gonna get that. You remember how Thor Ragnarok ends
Yeah,
and
and then
Thanos? It's like I think
yeah.
you're kind of gonna get that. It's like,
Yeah, so
oh,
so they try and get a complete story with Fantastic Four, and then
Hmm.
it will look like it's ending, and then straight up do that, to be continued, and then continue right into
Right.
Doomsday.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because right now, because I'm not sure, but I was still kind of confused on technically on the synopsis of Fantastic Four, because you're not supposed to be taking like rumors and at leaks ahead as 100% truth, because there's like some clashing things of
Yeah.
like what Reed and his family actually are. Because in one it says that they're from this particular universe, and then they go to the 616 with potentially Doom going into
Hmm.
Doomsday, and another one is actually Reed and his family are from 616, but they're in this other universe for now until Galactus comes, and then
Right.
Galactus does this thing, and then they go back home.
Yeah. I mean, whatever they do, that would be an interesting twist. But again, there's so much,
Yeah.
speculation and rumors that you just don't know. Whatever the case is, I mean, the film is coming
Mhm.
at us next year, so like we don't have too far to go, and like we're gonna see the first trailer guaranteed before Captain America: Brave New World, so they can attach
Mhm.
that along with Thunderbolts. So I mean, it's relatively close, and the first inkling is going to be there. I don't think they show Doom in the trailer. I think you
Mhm.
save that, but the general plot and consensus of what this universe is, it's all got to be in that first trailer. So,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
that's it's just it's want to know, because even with the sizzle reel, they don't really explain much
no,
other than that Reed probably knows what's going on, and he just, I guess he's probably tired of it, tired of it,
right?
because hey guys, you want to learn this new way of how you can get like jet propulsion, and it's boring to them. And it's like, okay, you want to seek some incursions, and then
Yeah.
planets explode, and that's what they want. And then he's
Do
like,
you guys want to see billions of people die on two universes at once? Woo!
yeah, as I would too. As I would hate that. I'd hate that too, especially if I was a teacher.
Yeah. So there we go. Look, we'll be back to talk about this soon. Again, the trailer will be with us sooner rather than later. So stay tuned. Now, let's talk about some DC news. We're gonna round up a lot of DC updates in this one because I don't want to like space this out into like 5 conversations, which we could. So we're gonna talk about first and foremost Sergeant Rock.
Oh,
So
Sergeant Rock.
this is a all right, so this is a World War II character
Okay.
who's essentially their answer to Captain America, but he doesn't have superpowers. He's just a
Okay.
good soldier. And apparently, Deadline even confirmed this. Daniel Craig is going to play this character, and they've been
Hmm.
working on a Sergeant Rock film for about 35 years. At one point,
No.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone. I want to say
Yeah, I believe
Jason
it.
Statham. Like,
Yeah, yeah, no, I believe it, because like that's what I was trying to figure out, because there's like too many like World War II characters that
oh yeah,
either
yeah.
have powers or don't have powers. But with Sergeant Rock, I believe, yeah, what you say is like 35 years, because every so often for some reason DC tries to bring him back in a
Hmm.
certain ongoing, and it doesn't last long at all.
Yeah,
So
like I think the character's kind of cool, but again, I like characters that are rooted in war and realism.
mhm,
And if they're making a Sergeant Rock film, since he doesn't get the Captain America treatment where he like gets frozen or anything,
yeah.
and you have Daniel Craig, what are you doing with this character that's gonna have a ripple effect or ramifications on the current DCU? That's what I'm trying to figure out because I want this film to happen. Because imagine James Gunn's DC Universe providing a awesome World War II film. You're like,
Yeah.
hell yeah. They could put like Steve Trevor in there as well and do it properly, not like Wonder Woman. So,
I
like,
mean, they could, like they might do some adaptation, or some like forward history in the war, where they
mhm.
might make him like part of the Vietnam War,
I was
or
gonna say if I was to modernize it,
yeah.
Vietnam or I mean, look, it's crazy to say this, but the Gulf War was 30
Oh
years ago. So
yeah,
maybe the
I was
Gulf
that
War.
too. Yeah, either one of those, to modernize it and to get people semi familiarized with him, more than saying that, oh, we're gonna go back, back in time to World War II, and then
Mhm.
there's that small connection to Wonder Woman that may or may not go anywhere,
Right.
because you probably saw Princess Diana maybe, and then the one soldier that she talks to, maybe.
Right.
Yeah, it's just like at that point, it probably would. It would be interesting, but it would probably for me it would just be a waste of I guess resources to try and get that. Especially Marvel and DC have had problem or small problems trying to get those types of heroes to
Hmm.
the big screen because there's no technically there's no real hook because
Yeah.
um it could just be for better or for worse certain I guess it takes a certain person to make a almost normal person in
Hmm.
a superhero world interesting.
And that's like why I think this Sergeant Rock film, they got Daniel Craig to hook you on a good actor. This is going to be one of those 50 to 70 million dollar films tops. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's going to be a period piece. I suspect James Gunn and Safran are going to do what they do. They're going to make, hey, take a couple of these cool characters that we got over here and put them in here to kind of build up what's coming next. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to be just a straight World War II film.
Yeah.
Don't get that wrong. There's going to be connections to the DC universe. Probably like I wouldn't be surprised if at some point in that film we find out that whatever Sergeant Rock finds is connected to the likes of Lanterns and that big plot that's building on Earth. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like it's something like that's going to happen. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's
I guess yeah, because there's like there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. It's just with
oh yeah.
so Sergeant Rock is for me is like I would be pleasantly surprised if they could pull it off because I do like seeing the new characters
Hmm.
in new situations, but it's just sometimes it's a hard sell trying to sell a soldier that will a soldier for I guess the modern audience to actually sympathize and understand
And
with
you know, you
Sark.
say that, and also right now, the perception of the United States and all the
Mhm.
wars they fought in is at an all-time low. There's
Yeah,
no more Americana, this is it.
yeah,
Which Marvel was also smart to get away with Captain America being
yeah,
that. They saw it coming. So like you do have to be
yeah,
careful with it, but again, I
yeah,
think James Gunn will figure it out.
yeah. He will. I mean, and with that little like tangent with Steve, it like Marvel was good with it because Steve, even though he is a symbol of America, he's a symbol of everything that's supposed to be right with America, and
Exactly.
that's why
Yep.
he's lasted for so long because he's not necessarily tied with the American military, but
Hmm.
with idealism of what it means to be an American.
Yeah. And
So,
on that front, let's jump on to a couple other characters we found out about. This is just a small little mention here, but
yeah,
James Gunn confirmed to fans online, yes, he's working Deathstroke into the DCU, and yes, there's already plans in motion for more Deathstroke. So,
okay,
okay.
okay, I'm okay, but um, his background, I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
And he, bro, what do you mean? Like you don't like for whoever likes like Deathstroke from like the animated series and maybe the video game, comic Deathstroke, he's a horrible person.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like not like the average horrible person, like like some of the other villains who, if they know what he's done, they would beat his ass too.
Like, I'm not exaggerating when I say this because I've read a decent amount of Deathstroke. He's a war criminal. And
Yeah.
like one, you don't necessarily go with, well, he did that out of goodness of no. Sometimes he went in there and he's just like, so you're the innocent people, right? Well,
Yeah.
the ends justify the means. You're
Oh
like,
yeah.
ooh, like yeah, Deathstroke's a kind of despicable character, which is why I think James Gunn is gonna do something different here again, like Sergeant Rock. They're gonna try to reframe some of this. Again, Deathstroke has been reinvented multiple times to be more modernized. So I think
Mm,
you could do something with that. There was a specific arc where they try to make him a more of a good guy. Coincidentally enough, it happens in my home country, Bosnia, during the Bosnian War. That's how they
yeah.
try to like retrofit him and try to make him good. And you're
Yeah.
like, okay, like you can do
Yeah.
it, but like you got to take a new approach to the character. I think.
Yeah, it's just yeah, like you would have to because you because once people find out like how horrible he is, it's like this is the person like we're supposed to be following this is your guy here.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah. So off of Deathstroke, let's talk a little bit about well, I guess Lanterns, because
Mhm.
James Gunn has stated it's coming after uh, Peacemaker and Superman, which makes sense. So it
Okay.
sounds like next in line, Peacemaker is hitting in August.
Mhm.
So probably towards the end of the year or early 2026, we're getting Lanterns. That's all we really got. There was no other
Yeah.
context
Yeah,
provided.
it was just like it's interesting because like how James is trying to retrofit Peacemaker into the DCU. It's funny and weird because like he's all no everything in the last season is is canon, but the last part, which is the Justice League
Yep.
cameo, we're gonna have to retrofit that. It'll make
Yeah.
sense later on. And I'm like, okay, guys, maybe you guys shouldn't have done that from the beginning if you're gonna have to try
And it
and
wasn't even
explain.
that he wanted it; it was mandated by Zaslav at the time, So it was
Uh,
like he had to do it, and it's like, But they're gonna find a funny way to explain it. Trust me on that one.
yeah.
And outside of that, we got an update on Brave and the Bold and a Batman villain. So
Mhm.
Brave and the Bold is still coming from Andy Muschietti, but
Okay.
we also got the casting of Clayface, which is
Yeah.
Alan Tudyk.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting because people are like, is he gonna like, is it gonna be physically him? But uh, for I don't know if it's like changed, but from what people from reports, it says that he's specifically using his voice for
Yep.
Clayface.
I mean,
So
look, Clayface, when you bring him into live
yeah,
action, and I think they will at some point, even if it's a quick and Brave and the Bold, they show Batman fighting his
yeah,
rogues gallery, you're going to get Alan Tudyk because there's been like 8 different Clayfaces.
oh
You're going to
yeah,
get him to play one. Here's Clayface quickly. And then you saw him in animation. I think that's
yeah.
fine. Like, I don't think you get to a point where Clayface is the main villain unless like Matt
Well,
Reeves does it,
yeah.
you know?
Well, I mean, I would hope because like Clayface is a very like complex and interesting villain for a person for a person who doesn't know Clayface, or one of the main Clayface. He originally was, or in certain iterations he's an actor, and
Yeah.
with his affliction his mind started to his mind starts to like starts to fracture, and he's using his powers for nefarious reasons because of how Gotham usually is against the brightest, where if something goes wrong with your I guess your bread and butter, or what you have going on, there's usually no going back.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So again, just a few updates there,
yeah,
general updates about the DCU.
yeah,
Again, we don't
it's
want to focus too much on all of it because it's
yeah,
just little
because
pieces.
yeah,
Like,
because like for well, I give credit to James Gunn because he doesn't have to say anything, or
no,
give small updates at all
no,
from the frantic fans who are saying,
yeah.
you know, why don't they do this, or this, or send him all these ideas and stuff where he's like, no, I'm not gonna do that. And
Well,
he goes,
did you
but
see
we're
the
gonna do this.
funniest part of his whole interview with IGN that he did? Talk about Creature Commandos.
Oh no.
Him and the guy directing and producing that
Mhm.
both start laughing because they're like, "Oh no, the Nazi fan base is worried we're gonna alienate them." The Nazi fan base, and he just starts laughing
Huh?
at them, being like, "Yeah." Because apparently there's good guys on the Nazis. He literally starts laughing at them. And some of the IGN comments are being like, why is he turning against me? It's like, did you just out yourself? Like, what are you doing? Come on. Because Creature Commandos is going to show us
Yeah,
Nazis getting punched in the
no,
face.
I know, I know. It's to me, it's like
Yep.
sometimes
I know.
I just can't believe, like, I don't even know what to think anymore.
Yeah. I
It's
saw somebody on YouTube make a thumbnail with the
yeah.
exact moment he says, I'm going to enjoy punching Nazis in the face, saying James Gunn is against us. I'm like, is this. Okay. But hey, James said it, so
Yeah,
why not?
no, it's the weirdest thing, and it's like, if you get offended by that, then on some level, like, you should reassess of your train of thought if you get offended by that.
Yeah. 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 It's wild. But I just wanted to point that out because James Gunn did a sit down with IGN talking about
Yeah,
Creature Commandos, and it was pretty entertaining. So
yeah, it's just with that where, like, I'm like, what do you think what do you think the creature commandos are gonna like do? It's like they're gonna be they're like they're technically they're monsters. They're gonna be doing more than just punching.
It's true.
And
It's
I'm like,
true.
and then
Ah.
sometimes I hate like.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So there it is, everybody. A little DC talk, but now let's jump on to our final topic. Sony's press release that went out at the same time worldwide across all their international, websites. You got like Sony Pictures Europe, Sony Pictures Japan, Sony Pictures South America, whatever. They all updated, and it was like, hey, Tom Holland is back as Spider-Man. Okay, cool. Spider-Man 4 confirmed. The Japanese one is really interesting because in the same press release, if you translate it, they confirm that Venom is coming and that Tom Hardy's Venom The Last Dance and Null leave the door open for him in the MCU. And you're like, hold up, this press release just confirmed that Tom Hardy's Venom is in Spider-Man 4 because they mention him by name. And in press releases, that's what you have to do. Like, people will remember when they announced The Batman from Matt Reeves. We were on this podcast saying, guys, this is a reboot and Ben Affleck is not in it. They were like, what proof do you have? I was like, if he was, he would be in the text. It's an official press release. So I think Sony Japan might have screwed up really badly here because they straight up just confirmed him.
No, probably. It's not like it's the first time something this bad has happened. With movie companies. It's just weird that this is one thing they don't catch before the release is to make sure everybody's on the up or on the same page. But I mean, something like this was going to happen with Sony Pictures with how they operate their spunk universe here, because they've been trying to I wouldn't say like ape off of the MCU to get some success or some people to come
and they found none.
Yeah, and trying to get people to come and watch their movie just on the happenstances that there's Marvel characters in there, but not so much. It's gonna be so much connected until with updates and with premieres where they're saying maybe they'll be connected. Hey, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, and more than often, like Feige's just like, yeah, if they're gonna come, they're gonna come on our terms and what we have planned, and then they have to retrofit an ending saying, oh yeah, never mind, yeah, that was just an idea we had in our movie. But
it's crazy.
But like I don't like for Tom Hardy and that version of Venom and then Null, for whatever reason, going to the MCU and potentially either fighting or teaming up with Tom Holland, it seems hollow because it's not earned at all. And it's weird because like if they have to try to do it all in one movie, how is this gonna happen? Because you still have a version of the symbiote over there in the MCU, and then what happened in The Last Dance.
I mean, I think, to me, right, if I look at what happens, spoilers for Venom The Last Dance, Venom the symbiote sacrifices himself and he's permanently dead. Eddie Brock is without a symbiote at the end, and he's like, oh, he goes to New York, and he's like, you always want to see New York, buddy. I'm here. You're in me. You're with me in spirit. That piece of the symbiote in the MCU is the key to everything because he can reunite with it, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a little piece. It's not the entire thing. But if they're smart enough, when Null comes in, as the symbiotes start pouring in, maybe Venom takes over one of the lesser symbiotes and then we get a new one. But still, the Venom and Spider-Man clash is not earned at all. There's nothing there, like you're saying. It's like Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Imagine if we get to the third act and there was no Venom, and then suddenly Venom appears. He's like, I'm here, everybody. You're like, boy, this makes the game even worse. Great.
Yeah. Because like they tried to give that animosity to each other, to each other from from the first time they tried to cross over,
Hmm.
where you see Venom just looking and says, "I hate that guy," and
Yeah.
so why would why would you hate that guy? And then like later on, and so it's because it's a multiversal nexus, so every version of Venom would know if they wanted to, because they all have a hive mind, and
Uh-huh.
in the multiverse, hundreds of millions of probably have tangled with Spider-Man or a Peter Parker or a version of
Yeah.
Spider-Man, and that's where all the animosity, because they keep getting rejected. So I was like, yeah. At this point, like, I don't really like. I would want to see Tom's version of, I guess, the symbiote suit, and then at that point just go into Secret Wars and then like never see Venom again. That's or this version of Venom again anyway.
Yeah.
And and yeah.
Like, I wouldn't even mind if somehow there's Eddie Brock
Mhm.
in the MCU that's Tom Hardy, and he just ends up getting it, and the symbiote's like, Eddie, and he's like, do we know each other? And they kind of
Mhm.
reframe Eddie Brock in the symbiote, and it's just,
Yeah.
whatever. But like, I don't, I've, this is definitely Sony's doing. It's not Marvel Studios
Yeah.
demanding Venom is in this. They don't want it. We've
Yeah.
known for years they don't want it. They wanted Craven for 3 films now, but Sony
Yeah.
kept saying no.
Yeah, and then they find out that all the reason why they kept saying no is because they wanted to use them.
They wanted to botch him so he can't be fixable.
Yeah.
Actually, I think Craven's going to be a decent movie, but still, you guys get what I'm saying. Like, Sony wanted their hands on it.
Well, yeah, and like seeing the corporate juggling of these characters, especially, is very sad, because
Hmm.
when we talk about like how Marvel wanted to use like Craven. Another thing people might not know, especially on the comic side, where since that happened, if if anyone's a fan of like Ghost Spider, Gwen Stacy,
Hell
Spider Gwen,
yeah.
if you're a fan of her, the reason why she came to the main 616 and hasn't had like any kind of like major milestones or even like new villains, you can blame Sony and Marvel
Yep.
for fighting, because from what the writers have stated, like in interviews and stuff, the reason why certain characters can't appear, the reason why they can't evolve certain characters, is because Marvel is afraid that Sony will take them, use
I
them,
mean,
and ruin them.
like,
So
Miles Morales is a prime example. That's one of the most successful
yeah,
characters in the last 30 years that
yeah,
Marvel has invented. And the
yeah,
moment he hit big,
yeah.
Sony was like, hey, it's a
Yeah.
spider character. You're like, oh.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing, is that, um, especially for Miles, like Miles has a kid, has now he has the villains, but for whatever reason, Sony's afraid to mess it up, so
Uh-huh.
they won't really mess with that. But with other
Yeah,
characters, it's open season,
exactly.
and that's, I guess that's where Marvel comes in, and it's like, yeah, no, if we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, right, to an extent, and it's like you can help, like paint the lines, but yeah, you're not,
Right.
we're not letting you,
Th-
have free control, full control, and free reign over everything, just to
right, right.
just to see it go all over the place and down the toilet.
Exactly. That's why I'm like excited for whatever Spider-Man 4 is, in part because like they
Yeah,
keep teasing Miles might appear as well.
yeah,
It's like, all right,
yeah, because
we'll
like
see.
for the longest time, um like it's been rumored saying that they've been fighting back and forth because they want a street level stuff for a couple of characters, including
Hmm.
Spider-Man. And Sony's like, No, we want multiverse because it makes the
Yeah.
big bucks." It's like, It potentially makes the big bucks, not all the time." And he goes, "But it makes big bucks, and we need it." And it's like, No, it's like class, like, no, you don't really need it. It's
It
just that,
didn't help the Flash, did it? And
yeah,
that
no,
had every multiverse you can imagine in
yeah,
it. So like
it's
what?
like, yeah, it's like it didn't help the Flash. Technically, it didn't help Ant-Man or even
Nope.
Kang. It barely helped a few characters and right the ship.
It didn't help the Marvels at all. Like,
Yeah,
and that features a multiverse thing. So
yeah, and it's like, when it's earned, it helps, but going back to at least a level to where characters are, understandable, and people
yeah.
can get to know them, and go along the ride evolution of the character with them.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way to go, and that's where I guess you could see them trying to, at least have some leeway with each other,
Yeah.
saying, hey, if it's not technically, if it's not a full on multiverse, we'll let you do this.
Right.
But
Right.
like with the Venom stuff, I'm like the jury's out on that one. And then with the Null, it's like, why are you gonna waste a universal threat like that for this?
Well, it's like I find it funny that Null mentions the Void, and
Mhm.
then we got the confirmation that apparently we're gonna see Sentry in the MCU becoming the Void and like tapping into all of that energy. You're like, man, they're really gonna connect this up. Wouldn't it be
Yeah.
something if somehow Sentry's responsible in a multiverse way for bringing
Oh,
Null in
come
or
on,
something?
man.
Like,
Don't don't
yeah,
don't do that.
yeah,
Like for everyone who like wants to know like the references, technically that's how Sentry came into the to 616 with all this
hmm,
multiverse stuff. And oddly enough, a lot of the like weird things that happen with the multiverse that happens with Sentry. Like it's like with this creation coming or his creation coming into the 616. You can
it's
even
good.
blame him. You can even blame him for the zombies.
Sentry's too OP. That's the problem with him. So you
Yeah,
got to be like, hey, we got an event coming up. Sentry could solve this no matter what.
yeah. Where is he? Oh, he's off.
Yeah.
He's off world.
Whoops, we
Why?
forgot. Which,
That's the weirdest
yeah,
thing though. Is like he's so OP. Is like Sentry or like Boom Marvel can help, but why are they not helping? They're off world right now. But why?
that's it. Add Sentry to Spider-Man 4 to fight Venom and Null. There we go. That's a film, all right.
Yeah,
That's
it's a lot. Well, you
oh,
can add a lot of characters
oh yeah,
if they're gonna do the well, a version of the King in Black arc.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, you really can. So there we go. All right, so that's actually going to bring us to the end of this podcast, everybody. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We are once again going to offer
Hmm.
bonus members topics that we will obviously release during the next week and a half or so. So stay tuned for those. I'm going to talk some video games, some more stuff about Kang and Dazzler in the MCU, and for now, we're just going to sign off. I don't think there's anything that we got for housekeeping that I forgot, as far as I'm
Trying to
concerned.
look. No, not really.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, I guess without further ado, everybody, you guys enjoy. Yeah, this is dropping before Thanksgiving week, so
Yeah.
enjoy Thanksgiving. The next podcast will drop after and
Yeah.
earlier for members. So, everybody, have good holidays. If you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, happy Thursday, I guess.
Well, I think it's I think if they don't, it's I think it's Friendsgiving, I think.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
yeah, it's like
Let me see.
everyone brings
Yeah.
some of their culture to their friend's house and they have a
Well,
feast. Yeah.
there you go. Mitch will be bringing beans and bread.
Oh
That's
man.
what Mitch is doing.
Oh man.
Enjoy it, everybody. Later. Well, everybody, thank you for watching that video. And as always, you can like, subscribe, share, do whatever you will. Check out the recommended video that's popped up somewhere on the screen. And also, if you would like additional content, including more discussions and more unfiltered content, check out what we offer to the members section, which has new videos going up all the time.